Welcome to the Digital Amateur Television Experimenters Night. This is VK7 OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. Amateur radio is a worldwide hobby that has many different aspects. Digital television is just one of the many modes and areas that are covered. Maybe you're interested in becoming involved in the DATV Experimenters Nights. You realise that you do not have to be a radio amateur or need any ATV equipment to participate anywhere in the world. Also participate in the night by coming up to the Queen's Domain clubrooms. Yes, right on top of the Queen's Domain in the heritage-listed Coast Wireless Station. You never know, we might get you in front of the camera or behind doing one of the many roles during the night. We get underway with our program on a Wednesday night from 7:30 p.m. local time. We'll see you soon. This is VK7 OTC.
Okay, this is VK7 OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania with our DATV Experimenters Night. And welcome to all those people out there who are either watching from Ben from his house or on RF. We go out on RF as well. Just before we get underway, I'll just do an acknowledgement of country. This is... I wish to acknowledge Tasmanian Aboriginal people as the traditional owners of the land and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the memories, the knowledge and the culture and hopes of Aboriginal Tasmania. And reminder that please vote on October the 14th. Now that's as political as I get. So we'll start off, I just want to, one of the announcements, I suppose, that came out in the Reast newsletter, and hello to Ben and also to Ken, watching from the start at Ashburton in New Zealand. Then the rest of it tomorrow. Now, both Ken and Ben, we are going out tonight. There is the ability to source a HD stream, so it goes out. We normally go out on standard definition, but we do. Sean's been doing some absolutely wonderful work around putting it out on a HD stream, which is why you'll see our standard definition cameras will have the letterboxing down the sides, because we're trying to convert from SD to HD. So give us some comments if you are watching. If you are watching on HD, please let us know what the sort of quality is and whether it cuts the mustard. And hello to Andy, 2E0REE. Hello again. Good stuff to have you on the chat. Now, especially for Ken and Andy. At our last committee meeting, we talked about and we put in place the ability for overseas members, so those members who are outside of Tasmania. So the only fence that we've put around this is literally if you're outside of Tasmania, you can become a member of Reast for a half the cost. So this is the incentive, half the cost of being a member of the actual club. We acknowledge that you're outside of Tasmania, So for the princely sum of $20, and I've written down here, that's only 4 cups of coffee a year. So it's not very much. But you basically you get access to. You don't have to wait for the weekly membership newsletter to come out on the website. You get that newsletter directly, and that comes out usually on a Sunday, sometime on a Sunday. So you get the news. You get access to special members only bulletins that we send out every so often, and that involves equipment purchases and all sorts of stuff. We have a whole lot of special purchases from JCAR. Now, you do get a discount. You get a substantial discount between 10 and 20% from JCAR, and I think that's certainly applicable for Ken, because I think JCAR is also in New Zealand. Not sure about Andy though. I'm not sure JCAR extends quite that far. And also we have obviously access to things like deceased estate equipment and special purchases that we come up with every so often. So yeah, outside of Tasmania membership, or the princely sum of $20. So, and if you want to know more, please head to the Reast website, which is reast.asn.au, and head to the membership area, and that'll put you into the Tidy HQ area, which is you can sign up and sign your life away and all that sort of stuff. So so princely sum of $20. So well, and Ken's coming over for ALARAMeet. Now I'll do an ALARAMeet promo. ALARAMeet is in Tasmania, in Hobart, on the 4th and 5th of November. Now there is some activities before the 4th and after the 5th for people. It is the international meet of ALARA members, which is the Australian Ladies Amateur Radio Association. It's organised by a wonderful committee of people who I met the other day, and Reast is helping ALARA out with. We have a barbecue on the Sunday. We have a tour for OMs, for the OMs of all of the ALARA ladies who are coming along. We've got a tour on the Saturday afternoon, which is the Mystery History radio tour of Hobart, where we pile you all on a bus and we take you on a mystery history tour of Hobart, which should be hilarious. So there's a bit of running commentary on the bus, and there's a whole lot of places we go to, and we get off and we have a look at things and all sorts of stuff. So there you go. And hello to David. David is also on the stream. So thank you. Fantastic. So thank you, Ken, and thank you, Andy. Very much appreciate you being there and considering our outside of Tasmania membership. So there you go. Now, Remembrance Day contest. I'll put this on the. I'll see if I can work out how to do this. Just zoom out there a little bit. There we go. There we go. There we go. Now comes the fun part. If I do this and I do this. Oh, there we go. That was a bit of a rough transition, but anyway. Now we're looking at the Teams Challenge for the Remembrance Day contest that was held on I think it was the 14th and 15th of August. The Remembrance Day contest, for those who maybe don't know, Remembrance Day is held on the weekend in August closest to the secession, so the victory in the Pacific Day of World War II. So it's usually around the third weekend in August. And it's ZL, VK and P29, so New Guinea as well. And it's a contest where people contact other amateurs. They exchange their signal reports. They also exchange the number of years that they are licensed, and fortunate enough that VK7, so Tasmania, has actually taken out the, and it's a state-based contest, it's state against state, and VK7 has taken out the RD contest for the last 7 years, all of 7 years. So now, one of the teams was the TWOOZA team, which is the team of TW, OO and ZA. Now, I was trying to get OO and ZA along tonight, but wasn't to be. So yeah, it's we'll work on that one. And I'll head back to here and transition. There we go. That's a bit nicer. Transition. So one of the things that comes out around about now for the RD contest is the report of the RD contest, and at the end of the report is Alan Shannon, VK4SN, who's the contest manager, includes the error log. Now the error log tells you bucket loads of information, because the error log is the contacts where you lost points, potentially. You lost points, or the person you were contacting lost points. So, and to give you an idea of what the error log looks like, I don't know how you're going to, whether you can see this or not. The error log looks like this, which is, this comes out of the VK log checker software and website. Frequency, date, etc., mode, the sent call, the received call, the sent and the received exchange, and then what the system has found to be the issue. And in these particular cases, the call falls outside of the valid log times. So this is outside of the thresholds for the log time. So if you put in a time and you've been a little bit lax with the time, or you haven't, or you didn't know the time and you've guessed a time or whatever else, you put in the times, and the issue. And oh, hello to David, David and HD, looking great, excellent, thank you, and thank you to Andy, who's also commented on HD, excellent. And in fact, you might just give me a bit of an idea. Can you actually read that print on the screen? This is a good test for HD. You might, I might have to zoom in here a little bit, but the print on the screen is always a good one to see whether you can actually read it. Oh, that's a bit out of focus, but anyway, it's a good test. It's a good test. But one of the key things here is if it falls outside the times, there's a threshold of 5 or 10 minutes, I think, either way. So if the two times don't match, it errors, and the parties don't get the contact. And I just have to, that on that front page, unfortunately, Ross, VK7ALH, for some reason, I think the timing was not right, and the call falls out of the logs, and Ross wouldn't have got those points, which is really unfortunate. If you keep going through, and I'll show you, the next area is invalid received exchange. So if the exchange where you exchange your signal reports, but you also exchange the number of years that you've been licensed, and if they don't match, then the person who exchanged or heard the wrong exchange number, or wrote down or logged the wrong number, then doesn't get the points either. And a classic example here for me, and I'll zoom in this time. Thank you, David, on the hint there. I'll zoom in here. You can see here, this was a contact between on 7 megs, VK2KUQB. He's been licensed for 8 years, VK7TW, and he's written down 8 years. Now, and that's incorrect. The received was not correct. So So VK2, hang on, VK2 KQB wouldn't have got those points. Hang on, I just want to say the sent is 8 and the received is 8. So he's written down 8. So I would have got those points, but he wouldn't have got those points. The next area is, you'll find, if we keep going, I've got all these with a little tab so I can find them easily. That's no matching contact found. Received, invalid receive exchange. Keep going, Justin. Let me go to the next tab that I've got. Now, this is interesting. No matching contact found. So, VK5, this is on 3.665, VK5Y and VK7TW. Now the exchange numbers are correct, but there was no matching contact found, I suspect, in my log. So, interesting. So VK5Y wouldn't have got that contact. Actually, neither of us would have got that contact because there's no matching log. So, another issue. A few of those, and it could be that it's been logged in the wrong frequency. That's very, very common. No matching contact found. Now, this is a classic one, and this is one for Xavier. We both wouldn't have got this contact, Xav. There is a contact here, VK7TW with VK7 XHJ on 432, and then a little bit further down on a slightly different time is a 2 meter contact in the reverse order, and I suspect that, and the no matching contact found because of a different band. Now they tell you why there's no matching contact found over here. I'll just go over here. On different bands. So I suspect what we've done is mucked up when we've logged it, and we've logged it on different bands. So just so easy to do. Now this is a fascinating one. During the contest, I logged VK8NH, and I actually logged it in the log as NAH because that's what I thought I heard, and I didn't clarify. And there's a log in here, VK8NH has logged it with me. There's no matching contact found because in my log it was NAH. So neither of us got the call, got the points there. So it's just really easy to do when you're in the thick of a contest. So just okay. Hello, Steve, and yes, the middle of TWOOZA. Now please chime in here, Steve, if you can. I don't think there's any that were ours, and the other one, the last one on the list that gets tested is a unique received call, and invalid because, and I'll show you, it's unique received call because you'll notice it's VK7 BSJ. Written it down wrong. I've written it down wrong. Invalid, and it's not a licensed call. And I suspect that was either BS or wouldn't have been BJ because it was HF. But I got it wrong. I didn't get the call, and he wouldn't have got the points either. So anyway, very, very interesting. So yeah. Actually, I'll show you the front of this. Alan Shannon puts together a great report. So there is on the front of the report is a couple of VK5 BUG, so Doc's arrangement with his ex-military equipment, VK2 YQs with his ex-military military set. Actually, Peter VK7 KPC's got one of these, and then ZL3 BHS is field day setup. He's got a vertical here, and he's got a couple of ex-military, and there is a military. If you're using a military radio, you can go into a separate section of the and let Alan know where you're actually contacting people using ex-military radios. So yeah, the logging, error logging, the summary. There are a few here that stand out. Not in log, so not in log or nil. There were 774, and that's very much the most. That doesn't surprise me because there is 1,005. I think Alan said 1,006 participants approximately from the logs that were put in, and the problem is of that 1,006 participants, there were only 237 logs put in. So for whatever reason, I think the elephant in the room is that there is what's that, a fifth, 20%, 20% of logs are put in for the contest. So just amazing. The next one on the list, missed copied calls. So miscopied calls. So something where they've got something, one of the details wrong, 267. Wrong exchange, 266, etc. Duplicate contacts, 79, etc. So, but it's always worth looking at the RD contest report when it comes out, so that you can hopefully learn from it for next year, and use a rig that's connected to your computer, so it automatically logs the bits and pieces and checks that you're on the frequency you say you are or whatever. But it's always worth looking through the error logs. It teaches you a lot about how you can improve in the future. So now, from the RD point of view, a fantastic top rookie award went to Sarah VK7 SRH, who I contacted quite a few times. In fact, a lot of people contacted Sarah, and I understand that Sarah was also doing the logging for Brian, her father, and also Jane, her mother, and she was also doing her log. And she came as top rookie. So 3 cheers for Sarah. Fantastic opportunity. Single operator phone first was myself. Second was OO, so the other part of TWOOZA. Third was VK7ID Phil. VK7C Catherine was fourth, and Richard VK7ZBX was fifth. In the single operator mixed, we had some VK7s. Fourth was VK7DW Andrew. Fifth was VK7ZA, which is the end of TWOOZA team. Sixth was VK7PD. The QRP phone was Anthony VK7AG. QRP mixed. The second was Peter VK7 KPC. And in the teams, as I showed you earlier, TWOOZA came first with 2,446 points. Second was the Cronies +1, which is Richard ZBX, Murray ZMS, and Hayden VK7HH with 1437. And third was the Devil Radio Rookies, which is Lee LEE, Harry VK7 HXT, and Xavier VK7XHJ with 271. So that was they came third. So good stuff. 44% of VK7 participants submitted a log. and it's only 1% behind VK6, so that's a bit of concern. And log submission overall was about 23.6%. But yeah, the elephant in the room is that we had over 1,000 people actually participate, but only 20% of them put their log in. So we really need to get that participation much higher. So now I came across this particular everything from R to Zowie, and it also, I'll just point out here, also includes radio. So radio. Now, Mechanics Illustrated at all good newsstands. This is something I came across a little while ago and absolutely loved it. The Mystery of Other Worlds Revealed. This is a 1950s publication about what the future will look like, about space travel, flying saucers, and rocket development. And we've got War of the Worlds. This is War of the Worlds. Mystery of Other Worlds Revealed. Spaceships are already here. Journey to the moon, from the moon to Mars, life on other worlds, etc. I'm currently watching an Amazon Prime series called The Expanse, which, if anybody knows it out there, is about quite a distance into the future, and we've populated the moon, we've populated Mars, we're moving out into the solar system. So absolutely fascinating view of 1950s streamlining and space travel. But the interesting thing that jumped out at me in here was there's a section in here on radio and radio astronomy. Now, let me just find it. And the thing that jumped out at me, there's a big section on astronomy, but the thing that jumped out at me was there was a picture of a radio astronomer in here that we in Tasmania absolutely know and love. I've just got to find it. The radio astronomy section. Here we go. Now that's the optical astronomy section. The radio astronomy section. Here we go. Now there's a section in here about communications with other worlds. And the communications with other worlds. Here is a problem that rarely occurs to the average man, yet a great scientist solved it 1 century ago. Before long, Earthmen are going to Mars. On Mars they may find civilized beings of one form or another, etc., etc. But I turned over the page, and who should be on this page but Grote Reber. Now, Grote Reber was he's referred to as the father of radio astronomy, and he set up an observatory up at Bothwell in the Central Highlands of Tasmania back in the 1950s, with his up at a place called Denniston, and he set up a huge array at about, I think it was about 40 megahertz from the memory, 40 to 50 megahertz, and he was mapping the Milky Way as it went past from a radio astronomy point of view. So that picture really jumped out at me as there's a bit of a Tasmanian connection to our other worlds. And it goes into the universal language of radio and how we potentially will communicate with these beings from other planets, and lots of sci-fi references that throughout the book, which of course was well and truly in the eye of the the 1950s. Everyone was had their mind on on the space race and etc. etc. So absolutely fascinating 1950s book that I came across a little while ago, and I thought, there you go. Now, not that far after the 1950s. If people read the Facebook notice that discussion that I put up here, this is late 1950s, early 1960s, and for those of you out there who are computer buffs, this is a control panel, and I'll go to the Elmo because we can zoom in a bit more on here. Oh, hang on, let me just. Now, what you're looking at is a Burroughs, I think, and I'll stand to be corrected here, I think this is a Burroughs B6700 test panel. Now, the Burroughs machines, sorry, I'll give you a bit of history here. Burroughs Computing was, they were a mainframe computer company who produced quite powerful machines of the time. They were certainly in competition with the likes of IBM and ICL and etc. from around the world, Elliott and all of that sort of thing. They produced high-speed machines. Their CPUs and all of their what would normally be large-scale integration these days were all done discreetly. In the case of Burroughs, they used emitter-coupled logic to get the speed. And now emitter-coupled logic was a precursor to TTL, so transistor logic. But emitter-coupled logic was a particular way that you could get higher speeds out of logic gates. It ran off of -2 volts and 8 volts. And there were huge power supplies in these machines, and they were known to be very, very fast machines. Now, the B6700 was a machine that a lot of the TABs used, a lot of the universities used, and this particular control panel was inside the CPU cabinet, and you could actually do some testing on the CPU, some discrete testing on the CPU. So this is operand A, operand B, LC and SC. I've got to remember what that is. But you could dial in the operands that you wanted to actually execute. You could dial these in. You could dial the settings in. You could then run it. You could actually run that command. There were some error issues here, under and over voltage, overheating, double tape parity, so there was obviously a tape drive on this machine. Diagnosis was diagnosis detection, a halt, you could cycle through, you could lock on particular operands, on opcodes, all sorts of stuff. You could clear MTR processor, meter processor, no, not sure about that. Test, you could single pulse on, so you could literally give it one clock cycle. Single pulse, core parity, so this is memory parity, error 1, error 2, ROM parity, you could run the test, etc, etc. So this was the control panel. This was the control panel for the 6700. And it was actually inside. Now let me see whether I can zoom in here. Yes, I can. So there's the label, the telltale label from the Burroughs Corporation. And all of these multi-wafer switches. Now, the interesting thing about this particular construction method, and this was the construction method of the whole computer, this is wire wrap. So these are square posts where they have a special tool, they wrap wire around the tool. In this case these are soldered, but you could do without the solder. You could wrap the wire around there, which would crush through the Teflon insulation, and that the whole computer was made out of wire wrap cards, huge wire wrap cards. You can see there's a big D-type connector just here. Anyway, I thought it was this is a bit of computing history. And you're probably saying, how the hell did he get hold of that? Well, when I started my first job, it was with a computer company, and the manager of that computer company was an ex-Burroughs field engineer, and he had a whole lot of bits and pieces of Burroughs equipment which he used to service out in the field, and he said, "Oh, are you interested in this sort of stuff?" And I was absolutely fascinated by this sort of stuff, so I said, "Yes, please, yes, please," and I've kept hold of that because it's honestly it's computing gold. Now I've got a few things of computing gold which I'll bring in over the next few weeks, so and show them. So anyway, now Colin in VK. Colin, that's southeast Colin, I think. Anyway, it might not be, but hello, Colin. Now, so that's our night for tonight. I've droned on enough. We might go into a bit of the magazines next week. We've got the latest and greatest. Literally arrived today in the post. Is the latest DUBUS, which is number 3 for 2023. And there is a fascinating article about quantum amateur radio in here. By EA1 FID, so I'll have a bit of a read, and we might do that next time we're here. DUBUS magazine, if you're interested in VHF and microwave and above, that's your magazine. Comes out quarterly, so absolutely fascinating, and in German and also in English. So we'll take a look at that next week. Now, just a reminder, our October presentation night, which is the first Wednesday night of October, we will have Colin, west of Adelaide. Okay, there you go. Sorry, Colin. And our first Wednesday night of October is Mike VK7 DMH, Mike Hawkins, who will be giving us talking about microwave satellite weather imagery and a few other microwave satellite. Mike's developed a wonderful and very accessible, very buildable microwave satellite receiving arrangement with little SDR and one of the offset feed dishes. And he's going to give us, hopefully give us maybe a demonstration, but some of the wonderful imagery that he's been able to download, so using his microwave satellite arrangement. And then, of course, on the 4th and 5th, which I mentioned earlier, 4th and 5th of November is ALARAMeet here in Hobart. So there's lots and lots of activities going on for the ALARA women, and also the OMs that are coming along. We've got a whole bunch of activities up here at the wool store and all over the place. So should be a fantastic weekend. So there you go. So that's our DATV Experimenters Night. Please give us some comments if the HD stream is doing its stuff, and we've improved the quality yet again. We're getting there. We're small steps, incremental steps. So we're really getting there. Anyway, this has been VK7 OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania, with our DATV Experimenters Night. And we'll catch you next week, 73. Have a fantastic rest of the week, and we'll catch you next Wednesday. Cheers.